Do you ever have the situation where the evidence that you have isn't lining up, it's not making sense, and no matter what you do, you can't find anything new to help you clarify the information that you already have? Well, I have a solution that you might be able to use in your family history research, and that is theories. Howdy, I'm Caleb Lee with Family History Fanatics. This is a YouTube channel where we teach you how to understand your DNA, climb your family tree, and write the stories of your ancestors and preserve them for the future. We also like to have a lot of fun with our family history, so if you would like to have fun while you're doing your family history, then please consider subscribing. Today we're going to be talking about my current research thing that I'm working on, and that is trying to figure out who are the parents of David J. Searcy. He's got two sets of parents and only a few records linking them to him, and so I've been having a lot of trouble trying to find more records to prove and disprove the parentage of David J. Searcy. So one of the things that I've been using in order to help my research is theories. I brainstormed a bunch of ideas and then kind of culled the ones that were just too out there, like there's no way I was going to be able to figure it out unless they just landed in my lap. There's no way I was going to be able to find records to prove it. But, the most plausible ones that I have come up with are things like maybe he was adopted from one family, or maybe there's two David J. Searcys. But the one I'm going to focus on today is the one that I think that has a lot of useful lessons in research, and that is the one that William B. and William are the same person. Now, when you start out with researching your theories, the first thing you want to do after making it is listing the evidence that would be able to prove this. For direct evidence, something that will, very clearly tell me this is what happened. If I were to find a marriage record of William to Mary, and then a marriage record of William to Sally, then we have our theory is proven. But sometimes the evidence isn't so direct. Sometimes you kind of have to pick it out from all of the things that you've gathered so far. So for instance, if the two Williams have similarities, like maybe they were both from a certain place or both have a certain death date, then maybe they might be the same people. Or if we have a case where one of the sisters died and then as William got married to the other sister, then maybe that might be a place where he was married to one sister and then he was married to the other sister. So this started out with me first looking at William Searcy's page. This is William Searcy that is married to Mary, and I was going through trying to find any other information besides the fact that he was named William Searcy and married to Mary and, father of David, which may not be correct. So that's from this source, and then the other one thing that's connected to him is this note. And it says, among other things, that William, he was in the army during the Civil War when David J. Searcy was 2 years old. Now, there's a little bit of inconsistency because David J. Searcy is born in 1864, and so he would be actually 1866 that he would be in the military when David was 2 years old. But this is a hint that William might be in the army. I was like, great, there's lots of military records. We could find a lot and get a lot of information about William. So I went over here and clicked on the search, and it comes up with 480 results. Now I could, search through all of these things, trying to find the military records, making a listing them, checking them, figuring out whether they're correct or not. But you could just, there's actually a way to just search for military records. So you can go down here and you can restrict the records by, you could restrict it by location, but in this case we're going to do it by type. So you just click on type, and then you have a bunch of different things. And in this case, we're searching for military. So we click on this and then update, and there we go. This is all military records. These particular military records, they're special ones. You see, they've got this photograph with the box behind it. And this means that they're from a partner site. In this case, they're from Fold 3, and Fold 3 is a paid site. Most of the documents on there are you have to pay for in order to get. So I don't have a subscription to Fold 3. I don't think anyone in my family has a subscription to Fold 3. So that means either I'm going to have to, get a free weekend like this guy talked about in his video, or we're going to have to go to the Family History Library and take advantage of the resources there. I know that the next page is going to have stuff about William Searcy as opposed to, Bob Johnson, because the last record is, fairly on point. It's William Searcy. The only thing that's been changing is the middle name. So we go and we see, this pattern of middle name is the only thing that's changing, is keeping for a while, and then later we get to slight changes. So that's how, where you might be able to find something as opposed to it's gone, like there's nothing else. That's useful information. Speaking of useful information, what? Because Sally is the nickname of Sarah Searcy, Sarah Peak, I should say, who's married to William B. We're searching for William Searcy, who is married to Mary Peak. But, let's take a look. Now, there isn't that much information here. We have the name, then we have the other name. We have this. It is information, but it's not evidence that this is, for, in this case, William B. And the only other information that might be able to connect to their family, prove that this is their record, is this July 14th. I'm not sure what this is over here. There's a 90. That might be a 1 over there. Maybe 1890. And then this over here is December 6th, 1906. Now, that date over there is, it's fairly close to William's death date of November 24th of November, 1906, which would, make sense. This is a pension file, and that would mean it's pension given to either him or her. So it would start at his death date or end at his death date. But other than that, there's, not really much evidence here. So it's perfectly fine to, put this in this case, your source box on FamilySearch, or maybe it's your shoebox in Ancestry. But it's perfectly okay to go back and try to find another record that proves things. Because if we can find another military record, we have evidence that William B. is part of the military, and we might even find the same regiment number as the one that, again, was listed on this record. So we keep going, and on the next page, we find, again, Sally Searcy. So here we have, this is actually a record of Sally, not William, even though it says William right here. But anyways, this died would be hers. It's January 23rd, 1926, which we can see matches perfectly. And, we have the nice, this is when it was reported. And then going down here, again, William B. Searcy, Corporal, D54, Kentucky. The important thing to figure out here is this a record of, William B. and Sally? Because that's what this is at this point. We've got a lot of dates over here, and this is probably the amount that she was paid. The earliest one is 6th of December, 1906. And isn't that a bit familiar, isn't it? Because that is also nearby his death date. So this is a record of William died, and then it was reported, and the government started sending money to Sally. It matches up, so this is a record of William. And so I can add that, and I can also add this because D54 Kentucky Mounted Infantry. So going back to the clue web, we found similarities between the Williams, because we have William married to Mary, who is said to have served in the Civil War, and we have William B., who actually served in the Civil War. They could be related. How do we figure it out? Well, one of the things we can look at is, did one sister die before the other? Was there a period where William could have been married to Mary and then to Sarah? So what we're going to use this timeline feature. It's really cool, and so cool, in fact, that I will be explaining it later in more detail in a future video. So with Mary, she was born in 1840, and then we don't know when she died. We have sources of her from 1840 to 1900, I should say, not 1990. She wasn't that old. Then what we're going to do is we're going to use this timeline feature. So what we're looking for is we're looking for Sarah. So he married her in 1858, which 2 years before Mary was in Andrew Peak's house. Mary at the time would be 18, so just keep that in mind. Before that, he had another spouse, and she died, and then there was a 3-year gap, and then he married Sarah. Now, when you have cases where a guy marries a second wife, one thing that might cause them to marry earlier that as opposed to spending more time in grieving, is if he had children with his first wife. So, for instance, he did have 2 children. In fact, one of them is evidence of William's great prophetic skill. So he did have small children who would, need a mother in addition to a father to care for them. So maybe that would be a factor in him trying to get married earlier. So maybe there was a marriage in this 3-year gap. However, it doesn't seem right. I mean, he's married for 2-3 years, then divorces her, then marries Sarah, and lives with her happily ever after until she actually outlives him. So it doesn't seem right. And also, it doesn't matter, because David was born in 1864, as mentioned previously, which is not in this 3-year gap. So it's not a case where maybe he was born. There's some ambiguity there. William might have had extramarital sexual relationships with Mary and thus caused David to come into the world, but again, that's stretching, that's reaching. I need a lot of evidence to back that up. It doesn't look like this theory that William and William B are the same person doesn't look like it would work. We've seen, yes, there are similarities, but one, the timeline wouldn't work out unless there was adultery, in which case that's kind of hard to prove. So unless something new comes along, I'm going to assume this theory is incorrect. But just because this theory is incorrect, that doesn't mean that theories aren't bad. It kind of focused my research, got me thinking and looking at the evidence, new evidence and old evidence, trying to piece together things that would prove the theory. So I think you should take a look at theories, try them out with your problems. And if you have success, or if you have failure, or just want to talk a little bit more about how you can use theories in genealogy, then please let us know down in the comments what your thoughts are, what your experiences were. And of course, if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. It really helps us, tells YouTube that this content is good, and also that we should make more of these videos, because this is what you want. So if you want more of these, like the video, please.